3 or 4 times. Yeah. Since I got a preview tape of it. Yeah.
All right.
But
there you go.
It really works. It really works. You've got to watch it 11 o'clock tonight, Channel 20.
Excellent.
So tell me about Matthew's show.
I've only been on.
What's it about? What is it? What's he?
You were the best. You were the best thing they had going for them. Because,
really?
Yeah, because you were the something moving on the
going back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. they had, and I don't mean to criticize them. This I told Matt about this, which I think I was like kind of telling him. I told him you had nothing happening on there.
Yeah.
They looked like 3 guys in a lineup. Boing, boing, boing.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, do this and this, and they wouldn't do it. But anyway,
I saw it and I was like, that does look like a police line up.
And but I told him, I said this from a guy who has a tea party, on TV and.
Well, but that's why a cooking show is very good, because there's action going on all the time.
Right.
It's action.
That's right, and usually it'll draw you in. A cooking show, even if you don't want to watch a cooking show, you usually will get drawn in.
Well, it depends on how sticky it is.
Yeah.
Like after a while, everyone gets real old because it's so sticky.
I'm not going to be here this Saturday, but I guess you can give him pointers as to how to do it. Like this setup right here, the long table like this is really cool. Okay. I like it. It's much better than just a straight across table thing.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with that. Actually, they're not going to be here this Saturday, I think, because Matt's going to start my classes on Saturday, the sound class.
Oh yeah.
So so he's postponed for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do anything that would hinder some live programming, but. He says in the long run he thinks it's worth it. So
July 7th or 8th, I can't remember which Saturday that is. But there's a special band from Bloomington, Indiana, going to be in town called Busman's Holiday.
Busman's Holiday from Bloomington, Indiana.
Really, really good. Really, really good.
All right, if somebody knows Bonnie, from Indiana, they need to tell Bonnie that Busman's Holiday from Bloomington, Indiana is going to be on.
That's right. And there are 2 sets of brothers, and it's on their summer tour. And I'm actually kind of helping booking their tour around this area.
Get a gold star.
Can I have a gold star too?
All right. I get a gold star. Why am I getting a star?
Because y'all are so good, you get gold stars.
We show up all the time.
I think I'll put one blue one on the microphone.
All right. Right where the X is.
Good.
Little X right there. But they're really, really good. And if you check them out. Busman's Holiday from Bloomington. You got it on your face now. That's nice.
I have a beauty mark.
That's right.
So.
And
you used to could get these things and paste them on. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Back in the 40s and.
What do they call them? Pasties?
Yeah, kind of a pasty beauty mark thing.
Okay.
That might be where pasties began.
Let me see. Neither of you were here yesterday.
No.
We had a winner to our contest.
What contest was that?
The contest was to see who could identify the composer of the theme music, and it was Tiffany and Ivan from Blue Ridge Computer Recyclers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the used computer store?
Where is that? On Charles Street? Or
it's down near. It's down near. I call it the River Road. You know where Lowe's is down near the river, and you like if you went from Biltmore Village to Lowe's on the River Road, or if you went from Lowe's to Biltmore.
That river road back there.
I know the river road.
Yeah, and then when you come to that first stoplight that has a bridge where you can turn over the little river on the bridge.
Yeah, right there where that really crappy looking building is with windows out in front of it.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
I think.
This is going away from the Walmart side.
Well, if you cross over, you run into Craven.
I don't know.
Craven is
the names of the
when you
roads.
cross over.
Craven.
There's railroad
Oh,
tracks.
yeah.
There's
I know.
railroad
Yeah,
tracks.
yeah.
You go over the bridge,
Totally,
and then it's
totally.
the railroad. So it's a couple of blocks up there on the right. So I guess it, you know.
Okay, and they're in a house.
It's a building. It's a building, and,
Okay.
and with a loading dock and stuff, and they've got
Okay.
all kinds of old computers packed back up in there. I
What
mean,
did they do with them?
And Windows
well, they
98.
dismantle lots and lots of them
Oh,
and
do
sell them
they
for scrap
take
metal. But
other stuff too? Like I've got to get rid of my credit card processing machine.
you
know?
have to get rid of your credit card
Well,
processing
because
machine.
it's obsolete. Because now you have to key in that bank code. My credit
Okay.
card processing machine
Does
is
it
probably
plug?
15
Does it plug
years
into a computer?
It could.
Oh yeah, they'll probably take.
So all your old electronic stuff you could take over to a recycler.
Well,
because
it's-
you know I hate to just throw that stuff in the garbage. I don't know what to do with it.
It is computer, right? Give it
Old,
to
old
me.
cell phones.
I take it apart. I steal parts out of everything. I take all your.
Oh,
You have old
I love
electronic
you. Old brick phones and
Brick phones, like the big.
yeah, they're like big like a brick.
Oh man, like early '90s cell
Yeah,
phones,
early
Cell phones.
like 15-year-old.
With the antenna that pulls up the back. And it's
Not
like-
sure, but
It's like a
Yeah,
big
just-
walkie-talkie.
And they-
yeah, it's like
I still have a brand new battery for one of those.
Oh,
I'll gladly give
They're
them to you.
like that wide.
Yes.
think that it went from that to the
Yeah, so I got the
or
yeah
even
exactly.
smaller.
Yeah, I got the credit card processor at the same time, and it'll hook into your cell phone, and it ostensibly could go into the universe, and you could process a credit card out in the middle of a cow pasture.
Right, but I bet you didn't process a whole lot of them out in cow pastures.
I
did
bet the
you?
cows don't want to buy
No,
that
it's
much.
when you were doing. I was doing shows.
Oh, I see.
You know, you go out and do an arts and crafts show.
Oh, okay.
Had a lot of cows buying those hats. Didn't we? Some cows would look cute in those hats.
I
wouldn't
bet
they?
you really
Very cute. Everybody looks cute in my hats. Cows,
Everybody.
horses, pigs.
did you move a lot of hats.
Is that why you moved to Asheville
You had to move a lot of hats.
to
Move a lot of
to
hats.
pick up
Cow
on
hats.
on the farm animal market?
I moved to Asheville because one time I was in New Orleans and I was doing a lot of wholesale, and a friend of mine said, "You're so fortunate because you could live anywhere you wanted to and still make a living because you wholesaled and shipped it out."
And you believed them.
And I'm like, about 2 years it took for that to sink in, about the reality of that. And I thought, I could get out of this hot town and move to the cool mountains.
Yeah.
That New Orleans heat will make you nuts.
One summer it dawned on you.
Yeah, it's like,
One summer when the
it is so hot.
when the lights went out and the insurance, I mean the
When the
everything went out.
storms came.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the other reason. The sense that all hell was about to break loose in that town.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
Was that before Katrina? Like.
Oh, yeah. Because I
When-
moved here in '89.
Oh, okay. So that was way before Katrina.
Yeah.
So you saw the
And I wanted to buy a house, and I thought that you didn't get very much for your money there.
you saw the writing on the wall.
I had an intuition,
Yeah.
a sense.
Yeah.
And when I came here to look about why Asheville was drawing me here, because that's what happened, it was kind of drawing me here. I hadn't been here.
Mhm.
And one of the first things I noticed was nobody had burglar bars on their windows. And
Well, New
in
Orleans
New
is one of
Orleans,
the-
you have a lot of burglar bars. Now, don't get me wrong, I love New Orleans, and
Yeah.
it's got a lot of great things about it. But it does have some real serious issues. It's
Yeah.
like a
Have you seen
neurotic person that you really love.
Have you seen the
That's right.
bumper sticker Renew Orleans?
Yeah,
New Orleans.
Renew, yeah.
Yeah. In New Orleans, if they don't have burglar bars on the windows and all,
That's because they've been stolen.
no. I'm gonna say it's an abandoned.
Yes.
It's abandoned.
It's not, nothing
Which is
there's worth stealing.
Which is half
Yeah.
the city right now.
That's how
Yeah.
you. That's
Yeah.
no. I know because I looked at real estate there, and that's how you can
Yes.
find. That's
So
how
did you think it was not very much for the money?
Yeah. There's some good deals there. There were good deals there. Oh, not very much. You mean not very
Not-
much real estate
Oh,
for the
some
money?
really
Not
good
very
deals
much. Like when I wanted to buy a house, I didn't think you got very much for what you would spend. I mean, I got 3 times the house here what I would have spent there for a house.
Oh, but it's not that
When
way
I'm-
now.
No, it's not that way now. Because I moved here at a time
Right,
when
they
the
were
prices were
Still
still
decent.
very good in
Like
Asheville.
yeah, it's still somewhat comparative
house
to small southern
is
towns.
like up 5 times what I paid for it.
Right.
In comparable to what's selling in the neighborhood.
Wow. New Orleans.
But I'm not planning on selling anytime
But
soon.
when I
I'm
was-
going to die in
Have
my
you
house. So
been there post Katrina?
I was there in January and helped my girlfriend who thought that whenever it first happened, I said, okay, well, we're going to come down and help you get your house back together. This was like in November after Katrina.
Yeah.
And she says, oh, no. I'll have it all put back together by January. I don't want you to come down. I'm too embarrassed anyway. I don't want you to see my house.
And
in
by
a mess.
January, she didn't have floors in there yet, right?
Well, they had floors, but the watermarks were still on.
What did you find when you got there?
That was 4 months after Katrina.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I was there
the
in
next
December.
Christmas, 16 months after,
Yeah.
Oh,
she still is walking around on subfloors.
that's what.
She's had to pull up all of her floors. She's living in her bedroom. She's got her floors down in her bedroom, and she did get her floors down in the guest room because
Yeah.
Herb and I were coming down. She had no floors in the living room. The walls were back to the studs, and she sheetrocked and taped. So we went in there and we sanded and finished off the sheetrock and painted, and then she and I put in her hardwood floors in her living room and dining room.
Wow.
That's just got to be degrading to her, though. I mean, that must just wear on her so much.
It did, because
You
she's
know.
a real Southern gal, you know,
I know.
and you want your home to be presentable. And her first reaction was to be embarrassed for people to come see her
Yeah.
home in the condition it was in.
Right. Well,
My
there's not
first
much you can do
reaction
about
is,
it.
girl, you need some help.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was there in
Yeah.
December. Of,
So I'm going back.
05.
I'm going back the end of June to do some more.
I was there in December of '05 with the documentary film team, and we went to the lower 9th Ward and all around, and it was just like,
Oh, the lower ninth was just.
oh, it's totally. I
it's
mean,
like piles of toothpicks.
there was a barge. Did you know this? There was a barge that someone parked right beside the levee before the storm hit, and I've got pictures of
It moved.
buses. I've got pictures of buses underneath that barge where the barge
It just-
broke through the levee.
It just went on into the ninth ward.
It
and
just floated over into the ninth
Yeah.
ward.
in that
Yeah.
section of the 9th Ward, there was no houses left.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, they're just
Just pieces of wood.
stoops, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just
foundations.
foundations.
I've
and
got a picture
trash,
of
cars.
an armored tank rolling down Camp Street, right in the art district of New Orleans, with the guys up there with their machine guns at the ready. And that is such a heartbreaking thing for me. But I
Well,
printed
it's
it out
like
of the
a-
newspaper and put it on my computer door, so it's there.
It reminded me of a
Because
third
it's
world
like,
country.
it's really hard. It is. Well, that was one of the issues that I had there. That to live there well, you had to be wealthy.
Yeah. There's nothing in between,
There's,
or hardly any.
I was paying rent at the time, and to me, the next step up in what I would need to live in felt like a mortgage payment to me, and that's why I decided to buy a house, because I knew my next step was, if you're paying $500 a month or $600 a month rent, to me, that's a mortgage payment.
Right. You're just throwing it away.
Yeah. You know, $200, $250 a month can be rent, and you can live with it, but
Yeah.
when it's up around $450 to $500, you should be paying that to a mortgage.
Yeah. Totally.
So it's a heartbreaking thing, and I think it's like what the Civil War did to the South. In a way, it's so devastating to that
Yeah.
city,
Yeah.
and it's going to take maybe 20 or 30 years for it to come back even close to
Yeah. Totally.
what it was.
Well, that city
I mean-
probably made it through the Civil War on a
better.
percentage basis better
than
Yeah,
the
because
Katrina.
it was-
Katrina.
It was taken over relatively quickly by the northern side, and they didn't
And
they
the-
didn't have to suffer through the
But
blockade that long.
for the
or-
devastation in a city or an area, the only thing I can think of that would be comparable was the war.
It's true.
So it's going to be a long time.
Atlanta, on the other hand, was devastated
Yeah.
by the Civil War. It was
burned.
pretty much
18
to
It was
the
burned.
ground.
Well, see,
1864. It was the most heavily fortified city on earth. Atlanta was.
Was it Atlanta?
Yeah. And I think Washington was second, Richmond was third, or something like that.
Well, I used to work in a rock and roll club in Atlanta that was in one of the very few buildings that did not burn. It was over 100 years old, and it had not been burned.
Was that in underground Atlanta or something?
No, it was above ground, and it was the old carriage house of Atlanta. And a friend of mine built a rock and roll club in it called the Metroplex, and we then before it was all over, he managed to do what Sherman had not, and the place was burned.
After all,
to the ground. Yeah, that was after I had left Atlanta, but I went back and saw the one of the few buildings above ground that hadn't burned was now burned down to the ground. Yeah, and one of the bands I produced used the stack of rubble for part of their album cover.
Surprisingly, one of the biggest cities to be burned was Columbia, South Carolina. It was burned completely to the ground.
It was just in the path, wasn't it? Sherman was coming through.
South Carolina started it, so let's burn it.
Sherman was on his way through there.
Yeah.
Now Savannah, it was hard to get to because they didn't know their way through there.
Yeah.
But then when they got there, they offered them mint juleps in the party.
Yeah. Well, actually,
that's why Savannah didn't get burned.
Sherman took it on Christmas Day, and he telegraphed Lincoln, "Here's a present for you." Savannah.
And they just invited him to the Christmas party, and they
had
a party, and they didn't burn Savannah. Well, that's good.
They didn't.
Well, they didn't burn Savannah for whatever reason. I just kind of made that up about gave him a mint julep.
They probably did. Well, for Christmas,
start comparing guns.
I think what happened was the mayor of Savannah came out in front and said, "Hey, we're giving you the city. Here it is. Take it."
So he saved it, and then and you go there, and it's just breathtaking. The architecture there.
Yeah, totally.
And the squares. Have you been to Savannah?
It's one of my favorite cities in the South.
It's one of mine too. Yeah. I love it. And that and New Orleans and Charleston and Asheville.
Yeah. That, New Orleans and Charleston, and of the three, I think Savannah's really my favorite because it's...
If it wasn't so hot there...
Well, which of the three is not?
Asheville. Well,
Asheville.
That's my fourth favorite. That's why I'm here. But if you could take Asheville's climate and move it to Savannah.
Yeah, or Charleston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Charleston is on the coast there, so it's a little more palatable to a certain. But you get the breeze off the.
Still too hot for me.
I know it is hot.
I can't stand heat.
But Savannah is just a beautiful place, and you talk about buying houses for your money. I don't know what it's like now, but it used to be one of the best. If you wanted a big Victorian old
with those beautiful old
house,
Georgian
now they needed paint jobs real bad, but there were just rows of them.
I don't think it's like that anymore.
Well, probably not. The people are probably buying them. But
with the courtyard and I could just see. That's why I say I'm being punished in this life because I need to have one of those courtyards. It would be beautiful, big beautiful house and servants.
Wow, we have to do something exciting. You didn't hear. We had a comment. The Gadfly's wife has said that watching the tea party is as exciting as watching paint dry.
Ouch!
Who is the Gadfly? And who is his wife that said that?
He's the guy.
It's terrible.
He's the guy that does the show like yesterday afternoon, the political show.
Oh, okay.
Oh, his wife said that? Which one?
I don't think he has but one.
I don't think she wants any chocolate, does she?
Which guy?
Well, see, that's because she's not here drinking this wonderful tea. She doesn't know.
Chocolate.
And the chai chocolate now. It works out real. That works good, doesn't it?
Have more.
Already did.
What's that guy's name? Is it the one with the big mouth?
Don, I think.
Yeah. Yelton.
I thought.
Oh, his wife said that. Mrs. Yelton.
He's the one, didn't I tell you that he was the mouth of the South? Didn't I whisper that to you one time?
You may very well have whispered it to me.
I've known several mouth of the South.
I know. I think there's a whole bunch of them. There might be.
My brother's name is John, Oh, sorry, John, you're listening. There's a joke in my family. There's 3 forms of communication in Asheville: television, telephone, and
Tell John.
That would be another mouth of the South. And I have an aunt that's a mouth of the South too.
Really?
You tell her anything, and all of a sudden,
It's
I mean,
broadcast.
it has gone.
If you want to broadcast,
If you want, just tell her.
don't go to the radio. Don't go to the television.
Just tell her.
Just tell her. It'll be out.
Do you have one of those in your family? I think everybody's got at least one.
Yeah. It's after a while you just like, shh, just don't tell John.
I want everybody, when they run out of the tea party, go out in the parking lot and look at the tailgate of my truck. I have something new on the tailgate of my truck.
Really?
Which is
A
your
bumper
truck?
sticker?
Huh?
A bumper sticker?
Sort of.
No, the dent.
No.
No.
No. It's a white GMC truck.
Is it trailer hitch for a big old yacht?
No, there's not a trailer hitch.
What is it?
It's a
Got a motorcycle back there?
no. Just go look. Just see.
I'll go and look.
It's my new Anarchy TV symbol.
Okay.
Oh.
I have a new Anarchy TV symbol.
Oh, okay.
And I've made it so that the A comes up just barely out of the circle.
Yeah.
And then there's a little antenna on it and like doo doo doo. So,
Oh, sweet.
So it's like
Oh,
the A becomes the tower.
the antenna.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this is the Anarchy TV symbol.
Mhm.
Well, we aren't being very anarchic.
No.
We need to
John's
ramp it up.
I know.
John's anarchic.
That's what I'm saying.
I know he's an anarchist. He
he-
says he told Richard last week. You don't understand. He says I don't look like it, but I'm a real
I'm radical.
radical anarchist.
Right.
So give us
So-
some of your
So
anarchical
does that mean
views.
if like
And don't just
plague
get hung up
starts-
on the bad drug, good drug thing.
if a
Some other
plague
stuff too.
Okay,
if a
all
plague
right.
Some other
starts or
stuff, 'cause
something
we
like
already
that?
heard the bad
All
drug,
right. You
good
want
drug
to know
speak.
how to straighten out world politics from just right now.
Okay, well let's solve the world's problems of politics right now.
Okay. How to take care of the situation in Iraq? This is the only way that I can figure out how to take care of the situation in Iraq. And just by saying it, they'll probably arrest me. But the only
Maybe
thing
they'll copy you,
Huh?
steal your idea.
Who knows?
well, we can only hope. The only way that you stole it. No, come and show it to him.
Was it on the tailgate?
He
I heard him
pulled.
say he had something on the back of his truck, so I was like, oh.
Okay.
I don't know. Does it show? It doesn't show. You can't see it.
Oh, you can see it.
Do you want the crowd to see it?
I don't care. You can try.
I keep on looking at my watch.
But then frame up the shot when you finish. The
The
shot probably needs a little framing anyway. But that's a good close up. Go on close up
that's
on.
good.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Do a full screen on it. Do a full screen on that, and I'll tell you the only way to solve the problem in Iraq is if we have the people in Iraq. We've been over there killing their babies and stuff. I've seen the photographs. It's terrible. There's nothing, there's no way that we could begin to make up for it. But the only way we could ever talk to those people and have those people begin to accept any kind of apologies from us or anything would be if there was we should have a parade through the middle of Baghdad with the head of George Bush on a stick and a sign hanging down below that with our deepest apologies written in very proper Arab language, and then followed by Dick Cheney and the rest. No, keep it up there. See that? Oh, the shot has changed. Anyway, and so basically there was the deck of cards that had all of what was the guy that was in charge?
The top 50 or 40,
Yeah.
the wanted 40.
Yeah, the wanted bunch. Okay, and then they came out.
52.
Then they came out with a deck of cards for it was the Bush deck. Did you see the Bush
No,
deck?
I missed that.
Oh well, I got the Bush deck, and so that parade needs to include the Bush deck, needs to all of their heads on sticks.
Off with their heads.
Right, and marched through the town.
Well, that's what they did to the aristocracy or the people who were acting like just despotic monarchs in the past, and
Right.
that's what we have now, despotic monarchs.
Right. And then at that point, I believe we might, if we were lucky, and if the people whose babies we've been killing and stuff were kind, we could then open dialogue.
Well, they are kind, but they don't forget very easily.
No.
feuds.
They're known to
They have
hold a
blood
grudge
feuds for
for
centuries.
centuries. Exactly. That's
and-
the word I'm looking for here.
And
Centuries.
We've gotten our centuries, next few centuries of.
Okay, we have a comment on that right now.
Oh.
Okay, let me see.
I've got to leave in a minute too.
Okay, hello. Yes. Hello, Richard.
I keep neutral on these things. Totally neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
But
People know me. I'm the one.
but that's what I believe.
You know.
People know me too, but unfortunately I'm in a position to be able to.
Say what?
I work in kind of like profile, high profile type thing. I don't want to go into it.
Here, I'll put you on speaker. I'll let you talk. Go.
Okay. John, this is Richard. Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to say that the comment about President Bush cutting his head off and Dick Cheney down the street is totally inappropriate. Also, I don't think any of our soldiers that went over there intentionally. Now, there may be one out of 100,000 that has done something inappropriate, which will happen in any kind of circumstances. But no soldiers, our soldiers have went over there and killed innocent babies. That's not true. You know, that's war, simply put. But to say those two comments, you're basically putting the soldiers to a point where they are coming across as criminals, and that's far from it, John. I just wanted to share my thoughts on that with you.
Okay.
Put it on the other side.
Mm-hmm, bye.
Yeah, there it is. Look at the camera.
What, you got one on each side?
You know, I've got contact lens on that don't let me see very well.
Oh,
I can't see
that looks
very well on the
nice.
screen. So he didn't think it was appropriate?
No, he doesn't think it's appropriate. But then again, I'm not doing a call-in show either. I've mentioned a number of times that I'm not doing a call-in show. I'm not interested in doing a call-in show.
Well, I read something today. It's pretty interesting. They're starting to talk with all the militants and all the sheikhs and all that stuff. You know, just to call ceasefire. Call a truce, ceasefire.
Ceasefire.
Yeah, which I think they should have done like a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but they were like, "Oh, we can kill everybody and take care of the situation." But
Well, we
didn't learn from Vietnam.
We should have never
didn't learn from Vietnam.
we should
well,
never.
Vietnam was something totally different, though.
How different was it?
That was
Oh, those were gooks, and these are.
This is political.
no. That was totally political in that
This
the
is a
Soviet
very
Union
political
was
war.
behind it, but who knows? The Russians may be behind this as well.
No, that was
yeah.
political, and this is for oil. That's
Anyway,
This is a political war. This is totally a political war. If the Republican people, if the Republicans,
well, the
if
Democrats
this was,
voted
if
for
this
it
was
too.
if this was a Clinton war, they would be on him like white on rice
Well, what do you think?
for the bungling that has gone on. I know a little
Everybody's
bit.
on
There's
George
a little
Bush
bit
on
about military strategy that was totally and completely ignored. Just basic stuff that you learn in boot camp practically, and not the war college.
right. No,
You know,
right.
you
Right. This
have
is
to
totally
have,
inappropriate.
You have to have the world on your side to go to war.
Well, you don't have to, as we found out.
Well,
do you now?
all right, but to win, you have to have the world on your side. You have to go in, get in quick, go in with enough people, get out quick.
It's nice to have
establish order, get out.
it's
They
nice
didn't
to have the
establish
moral
order.
high ground.
Problem was they didn't establish
very
order
nice to
in
have
the
the
beginning.
moral-
They just kind of let everybody loot.
Well,
And
that has
went
to do
down-
with having
downhill
the
from
world
there.
with you.
Right.
Because
Anyway.
the world will be with you if you're right.
Anyway, as I see it, and you've heard me explain that
Here's some chocolate.
that I think that we've been operating under a coup, particularly not just since Bush stole the elections, but we've been operating under a coup
Since Prescott Bush.
since they put a bullet in Kennedy's head
Yes.
and took over. And it's the Bush family and this entire gang is the same gang that instigated the coup and that we've been living under for the going on 50 years now. I see them all as
See you
total
later.
total war criminals. And
I've got to go.
Bye.
bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome.
Am I running you off with this particular?
No, he said a few minutes ago before he started
Okay.
he had to go.
Phone call. I'm gonna look at something at 6 o'clock at home on my laptop. So.
Okay.
So anyway.
All right.
Bye. Nice to see
Bye-bye.
you.
Okay. See you later.
Anyway, so that I
So that was our big.
some
our-
people
what is it? Anarchy.
Well, you asked for the anarchist view.
Yes,
You asked for it, and
yes.
I'm giving it to you.
Well, you're the anarchist, but I'm saying
and,
that they just didn't even go in with some basic understanding of,
Oh, and I'm going-
of battle strategy. For
I'm
God's
I'm
sake.
going easy. I'm even by recognizing anything like a government as an anarchist.
The other thing that you don't do is you don't go into a war that you don't know that you can't win right at the beginning. Don't
Yeah.
go to war if you can't win it.
Oh, that's a smart move. I think that we should eat
I
one
mean,
of these.
win it.
But,
There's about 10 good rules of going into battle. I've only named about 4 of them. But
And-
all the others they went against.
they
too.
were all wrong.
They were all wrong.
We
They
sh-
never opened a book about military strategy.
We should never have gone in to Iraq in the first place.
Right.
I knew this. My dear Republican mother knew this before we ever went in there. And if she knows it, and if I know it,
And if I know it,
now,
and I'm just a regular person, I knew it.
now since we should have never been there to start with, I can't find a good excuse for why we need to stay another minute. The longer we stay doesn't make the fact that we went in wrong to start with any better.
Two wrongs is throwing good money after bad, quote a cliche,
Two wrongs don't make a right.
and 2 wrongs do not
Neither
make a
do
right.
3 or 4
Right.
or 5. But 2 rights sometimes make a left.
I hung my flag out for Memorial Day,
Three
and my
rights.
heart just breaks for the military families. It just breaks. These people are so imperious, and they're just, words fail me.
Right.
I didn't used to think they were this venal.
And I say it because I think it needs to be said. You see what I mean? I think that people need to know that the country that we live in was founded on revolution. The form of government that we have, which is a fabulous form of government, which has been terribly perverted and
But which
And
still
ruined.
offers a lot of opportunity for people.
It
More
had-
so than you do in other countries.
it has been great. I brought this up yesterday, and people were telling me, "Oh, well, we've always done bad things. Look what we did to the Indians, and what have you, and stuff like that." And but does that mean that we cannot progress? That we have always done horrible things, so we must always do horrible things? I was a child of the '60s. I was born in 1950. And that means that all of my teenage years were in the 60s. So I was part of a generation that came along that actually thought we were going to do things better than had ever been done in history. And I hate to see that dream lost, particularly the way it has been. I mean, I know a lot of people who have been just terribly depressed over what they've seen go on during the last few years, and I'm one of them. And and it has driven some people to suicide, just because
I've had to pull her back from having nervous breakdowns several times over this, really and truly, from him just walking around, pacing the floor, screaming about what's going on.
Life doesn't make sense
Right
anymore.
from the beginning, he was just like absolutely insane over it.
Because he knew it was wrong.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely insane.
Right.
Insanely, just
Right. And if
beside himself.
And if normal people know that it's wrong, don't blame it on bad intelligence. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we knew it was wrong. Some of us still don't know it's wrong. There's a lot of people out there who still don't know how wrong it is.
Well, they're in denial.
Yeah, right. But there are those of us who knew it was wrong from the beginning. As soon as we heard it, we went, "What?"
Well, I heard okay, we were doing what we needed to do in Afghanistan, and then all of a sudden we're going to leave there and go to Iraq, and I'm going I don't think you're through in Afghanistan yet.
No, no. Afghanistan was inconsequential. We went and we blew up some caves in Afghanistan, and we went there's nothing happening here. I mean, look at that. There's nothing going.
But you still had more sentiment on your side going into Afghanistan.
Yeah.
There was support to go into Afghanistan.
Right, and now that we've wounded the Taliban, the Afghanis have managed to raise the largest opium crop they've ever had.
Yeah.
Hence, the largest wave of heroin is cruising into this country.
So we didn't get that job finished.
Yeah, my. So what we did accomplish is we managed to
go in there and pussyfoot around a little bit, just pussyfoot around and then leave.
Right, but we managed to create a situation that means that there's 5 or 10 times as much heroin on our streets now as there was before.
Well,
From
I don't
opium
know about that,
from
because I don't keep up on that market.
It's
but
opium from Afghanistan. See, the Taliban was.
I knew they were big growers.
No, they're opposed to the growing of opium.
okay.
They made the farmers stop growing opium.
Oh, okay.
But then when we hurt the Taliban, and the farmers jumped back into the opium market, and they planted the biggest crop they'd ever planted. Now you give that a year to go through processing and everything, and where do you think it shows up? On the streets of America. So I don't know who gets all the cutback on that by name, but
it's like they're after us with the gas and the opium. They're after us. They've got us by the short hairs. Gas and opium.
Well, it's no wonder nobody will come to my tea party,
because we're such anarchists. Well, if we get hung in City Square, it's because we were speaking our minds. And that's what America's supposed to be about.
That's right. If you tune in next week and I'm not here, there's probably a real good reason. Would you hand me that thing?
Yes.
It's not supposed to be up there.
Oh, I'll put it up there.
Well, I know, but it's supposed to be on the back of my truck.
Well, it's very artistically done, John. I like it.
Well,
Is that a magnetic sign? Anarchy TV.
It obstructs the view of the teapots.
Oh dear, we can't have that.
So.
Well, so tell me some more anarchy views, because we got on a roll with that one. And we chased JJ off over it. And we got a call in, a nasty call over it. That was some action.
Right. But Richard had to call in and let me know that he thought it was inappropriate for me to say those things. But Richard has a show, and he says whatever he wants to say, and
that's his show.
And that's his show, exactly.
And this is your show.
And I don't tell him what I think is appropriate or inappropriate. Certainly not during his show. I might tell him after his show or during my show. I might disagree with what he said on his show, but I don't interrupt his show to tell him he's inappropriate.
That's the reason to have your show.
But some people do those. Some people will do those things. Some people will just come right into your show and tell you that they feel compelled to tell you that what you've said is inappropriate because it's not in line with their way of thinking. You see what I mean? And
I got you.
And if it's not in line with their way of thinking, then I suggest that they not say those things. But it's right in line with my way of thinking. And that's why I say those things, and they'll think that they're appropriate. And I think it would be appropriate if a lot more people said those things. And the reason I say those things is so that people can see that you can say those things. Also,
did you know that authoritarian mindset that has been prevalent in our country
exactly
for the
what
past
we're talking about.
10 or 15 years?
That's what I'm talking about.
Authoritarian mindset is actually a psychological personality disorder that is treatable.
Oh, that's good news. There's good news. It's a treatable disorder.
It's a treatable personality disorder. Authoritarianism.
All right. You know what? I'm about to have another cup of tea.
Look it up on the internet. Authoritarian personality disorder.
There we go. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, more. You know me. I've got a class to teach after this. It's a 3-hour show followed by a 2-hour class. I can use all the tea I can get on this round. Are you having a cup of this now?
I'm having this.
How is that?
It's delicious.
It should be. I'm hoping it was.
It's very good.
But that's the.
So you have narcissist. Authoritarian.
Authoritarian.
It's true. Don't laugh at me. It's true.
Yeah, and what is that one where